Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Pierre and this is Simple Home Brew. Guess what? I'm doing a wine today, an actual wine. I haven't done one for a good 6 months, maybe 8 months, maybe even a year. But today I'm doing an Island Mist Pomegranate grape wine. It's got a heap of different fruits in it. It's not for me. My wife wanted one, and funny enough, I have one. If you want to see it brewed, stick around. This one's a bit intriguing. I went to the brew shop to get just a couple of little bits and pieces on a Saturday, and walked in the door, thought, oh, I wonder if they've got a wine here. And Karen over at Greenleaf Hydroponics Homebrew in Traralgon said to me, mate, I've got a heap of wines here. Just take one. They're gone out of date. Don't know if they're worth it. Give it a go and see how you like it. Anyway, she said take two. I said, no, I'm not going to be greedy. I'll just take one and have a look and see what it's like. Anyway, I took it home, opened it up, checked the yeast. The yeast is still in date. There's a best before for the fruit and everything else, and smells clean, what I can tell. Looks clean, doesn't look polluted in any way, and there's a best before. So I'm happy to say that I'm going to do this, and hopefully it'll come out good, and I'm sure it will. Now the packet says best before September 2022. You know, we ignore that, don't we? I mean, best before doesn't mean it's out of date. It just means it's best before. So it's probably not going to be as good as it should be. But being that it's been sitting in a nice, humid, climate-controlled environment, everything should be good. So I opened this recently to have a quick look to make sure it is worth actually looking at and doing, and pulled out some of the bags and had a look at the yeast. Now, first we have our flavour bag. This looks like the F-pack, so it's a flavour pack. That doesn't go in immediately, that goes in later on. We also have all the bits you need to make your wine. And I did check the yeast out, and I checked the yeast used by date. And luckily enough, on the side here, you won't be able to see it, but I can read it. It says best before the 5th month of 2023. So this is still in date, so I'm going to use it. We've got Chitosan, Bentonite, which we'll use now. A lot of people have been talking to me out there wondering why I use Bentonite now. Now, according to the instructions, that's what you do. You use Bentonite first. The Bentonite mixes in with the water you're going to use, and it becomes part of that water. And then when you put all your bits and pieces in, really with Bentonite, it's for clearing, but it's the first thing you put in to clear your wine out later on. It makes sense? Sulfate and sorbate, we don't use that here. In Chitosan, we don't use that at the moment. We do not use the Chitosan. That doesn't get used. That was a bag I opened yesterday just to check this kit out, and it's looking pretty good. I've had these products. I've had Chitosan before that was just crystallized. That's how bad they got, and it still worked. This is our main fruit bag. This is our main wine, which we'll mix now, or we'll mix in, and we'll start doing that now. We need some hot water. They reckon about 3 cups to 4 cups to dissolve your Bentonite in. I need to fill this up. I'll put about, I don't know, I'll put about a litre in. 3 cups full, they say. That's about 1 litre. 3 cups full is about 750 ml. What I usually do is put it in a giant pot, mix it all up and have it all in the bottom of the pot, and then mix it all into this giant pot. But I really don't need much hot water other than for the Bentonite right now. So I'm going to do the Bentonite first, then I'm going to just pour it all into my prepared fermenter, which I'll show you later on. Okay, the kettle's boiled, and we'll just put some water in. I might put that much in. Okay, so that hot water's in. I'll get the Bentonite bag open. Now, with Bentonite, it can be put in straight away. Just do it. It's recommended to do it that way in the instruction manual. Sprinkle it in bit by bit. Doesn't matter if it coagulates, it's not a big deal. I'll just do a little bit, stir it, stir it, stir it. Makes it easier to dissolve it. And Bentonite is an organic product from volcanic clay that is a natural binding agent for proteins. So proteins will stick to it and bind with it, and then fall to the bottom when you try to clear it out later. So you can see that's sort of thickening up. This is how I've been doing it lately, and it's working like a charm. Before it was getting way too coagulated and clumpy. it doesn't matter if it does. It's not a big deal at all. Stir it a bit until it's really dissolved. It doesn't, like I said, it doesn't matter if it's all clumpy and lumpy. It's fine. Now I've got to put this aside just for a minute, like that. Bring up my fermenter, this beauty. I have already put sanitizer all through it and cleaned it. It's ready to go. I need to tip out my sanitizer now. You can use any fermenter you like. Wine is a lot less susceptible than beer to contamination. I mean, it can be contaminated very easily, so make sure everything is spotless clean. Sanitize everything with sanitizer. I use Stellar, pardon me. It's a foaming sanitizer, and the sanitizer itself is actually an agent that yeast likes to eat, which will give it more nutrient. I am pouring in spring water in this one. I'm not using tap water. That means I don't put as many chemicals in. There's already enough going into it to preserve a lot of the flavours and scents and smells. And hoping to get a better tasting wine out of it. So now what I'll do is I'll open up the bag that has the fruits in it. They used to have a little opening on their boxes where you can put your handle through, or this little knob, to just help you, you know, stabilise your pour. But these guys aren't doing that anymore, so I have to do it myself, which is fine. All I've done is just jam it under here, jam it under there, and I now have a ready to pour nozzle. Okay, so I'll open this up, I'll tip out this sanitizer, and we'll get to pouring. Now, I know it's been said before, don't fear the foam. Don't fear the foam. See this foam here? This foam will not harm your drink in any way. It's actually organic. It's human consumption safe. It's 1.5 mil to 1 litre. So that's a fair bit of a dilution there. I just need to pop this cap like that, very easy. Let's find all this very difficult ones. This will now go into my fermenter just as it is. Now with this one, there's no oxygen in the actual fruit, in the extract or in the concentrate. So the oxygen needs to be reinvigorated in the actual fluid. After I pour the bentonite in, just like that, I will start pouring all of the water in. I do need to measure it. This has to be 21 litres, okay? So 23 litres, I should say. If you want to be more stronger flavour, go 20 litres. 20 litres is very nice, very good. It seems to work in 20. I might just do that. I might go 20 litres. So now I've got spring water, which is just pure clean spring water. I'm going to fill my little friend with spring water to just get it up with these two 10, well, these are 2 10-litre bottles. So I'm going to have to do a few tricky little things on this one. This is different. I'm just rinsing out the bentonite just to get it the most out of it. Bentonite, the rest of it's going in. Again, it's not important. You don't have to put it in straight away, but according to the instructions that come with this kit, put the bentonite in with your brew and let it ferment at the same time. It'll dissolve and become a good product. Funnel. Need to just rinse this out because it needs sanitizer. Don't want to get anything contaminated, so I can fill this up with my spring water because that's what I'm doing. Alright, so I'll pour that. That is the rinsed product going in. Basically what I've done is just rinsed out the bag that's inside, which I'll take out now and show you. So I've rinsed the bag out. I can do it a little bit more, just to get every little bit out. So I've rinsed that out as much as I want. That's getting thrown aside, we're not using that again. Now this is pretty much halfway there. It's at a bit under 10 litres already. I want to make it 20, I reckon 21. So I'm going to top it up with the rest of the water. I want to reuse these, so I'm going to not pop a hole in it. There's a little cap here to pop the hole in it, so it makes it easier to pour. I'm not doing that. Like I said, it's about 30 odd degrees today, so this is going to be pretty warm for fermenting, for starting to ferment, so I have to work on that. Now we're at just under 17 litres. Okay, so I might have to quickly grab the instructions because I'm just thinking about this. If you do these and you're going to add another, looks like maybe a litre, you're going to have to, what's it say here? Okay, so these are the instructions. I haven't looked at them yet, but I looked at them before I started doing this. It says here, clean and sanitize everything. Pour to 2 litre, 8 cups of hot water. 8 cups of hot water. So 2 litres. Now, last time, I mean, what I did was just over a litre, so that was enough. 2 litres of hot water to dissolve your bentonite. Mix well normal bentonite to not fully dissolved water, which is fine. Grab a primary fermenter. This is this one. Good quality drinking water. I'm using spring water, so it's going to be really good. The flavour pack bag is not added. That's this one here. Is not added. If there are 2 bags, use the larger one now, which I did. To top up the fermenter to 23 litres. It says to actually top the fermenter up to 23 litres. I'm not going to do that. I'm actually going to go to, because that'll be about a litre. I'm going to go to 22 litres. Should I go to 22 litres? Should I go to, am I going to lose a couple of litres anyway? I'm going to go to 23. I'm going to do what the instructions say. 23 litres. So we're at 18 now. I still need another 5 litres. We're just about at 23. We are now at 23 litres. So this guy's at 23 litres. This won't be put in there until later on. So what I need to do now, this is fully ready to go. I need to add the yeast, which is EC118, which is normal wine making yeast. It is in date, so that still should be good yeast. Now I'm going to put this inside my house because the shed is not a controlled area. The house is. So it's going to stay at about 21 degrees, 22 degrees. And it says between 21 and 26 degrees. And we'll let it ferment. So the yeast is in. I will put my sanitized lid on, which I'll re-sanitize because it's been sitting on the bench. I'll be back. Sanitizer is a nutrient for yeast, so it's a bloody good thing to have. I've got a floaty pickup tube in there. I probably will use it to help. But this is not going to be fermented under pressure. I will have actually a pressure relief valve on there. It's going to be set at 0 basically. It's just going to, no. I'm going to put a bubbler on here. But what I should have done first is shook it up. Just to oxygenate the wine. Basically I've used water that has been purified in a bottle and not a lot of oxygen in it, but there is oxygen in this chamber, but it's not mixed with the fluid yet. So I'll take this Apollo out and I will shake it. Fully oxygenates it. Now if you were to use tap water, you don't have to do that. Tap water is fully oxygenated when it comes through your taps, and it's not necessary to oxygenate something so extreme. You can over oxygenize products or fluids. This is a must at the moment. It's a liquid juice which is ready to be fermented into a wine. So now you can put your airlock on, which I have over here. Where's the cap? So what I've done is I filled it up with sanitizer. I'll pop the cap on, like so. Take out my pressure relief valve because I don't want any pressure in this one. And I'll put the bubbler on instead. So that will now bubble away at around about 20 degrees for about 2 weeks. And when it finishes, that'll be my next step. The next step is to clarify it all. And that comes up in the next part of this video. Cheers guys, we'll see you then. Alright guys, it's day 23. I think I've left it for a while. I've been fairly busy, working flat out at the moment, working 8 days a week basically. So I haven't been able to get to it. It won't do it harm. It just sat there in my house, finishing its fermentation, and yeah, leaving it a little bit longer cleans it up a little bit and makes sure it makes certain that it's finished fermenting. Even though it did ferment at 23 degrees Celsius mostly, which is a bit of a pain. I wanted it to be 20 degrees, but I couldn't control that. It was just very, very hot weather, and my air conditioner in the house didn't keep the temperature down below 23. Anyway, I now have to change, I have to start clearing it out. So I have to transfer it out of the fermenter and into the secondary, which is this glass carboy. It's got plenty of sanitizer in it with my siphon ready to go. Siphon has been cleaned out and sanitized. I'll just put it back in there so I don't lose it. And now, from doing that, you have to check the chart, make sure the SG is correct. Basically, make sure it's finished fermenting. If it hasn't finished fermenting, guys, you've got to leave it for another 24 to 48 hours and check it again. And if the fermentation hasn't changed, then it's pretty much done. So we need to now kill the yeast by adding sulfate and sorbate, or sulfite and sorbate. I'll get it right one day. And Kaiser salt. So you've got to rack the wine, into my cleaned carboy, and then add the sulfite, sorbate, directly into the carboy of wine. Agitate wine using the sterilized stirring spoon, vigorously stirring the wine, changing direction intermittently for 10 minutes. If you're using a machine, 3 or 4 minutes, that's fine. Like a drill and that, which is what I'm going to use to degas it. So you basically need to get the gases out, which is created by fermentation. Fermentation will create CO2, and the CO2 will be suspended in the wine. So you need to agitate it to force the CO2 out of the wine. So we don't have carbonated wine. You don't want that. It's just going to be awful. You need to fit an airlock and leave it for 24 hours. So what happens is, basically over 24 hours, the Kaiser salt, the Kaiser salt and the sorbate and sulfite will kill the yeast, grab it, pull it down the bottom with the bentonite we put in earlier. So let's do it, shall we? Got this 360 camera. I don't know if you guys have seen it before, but I've been using this lately, as you can see, to try and animate what I'm doing a bit more. Here is our wine, all finished fermenting, has been finished for quite some time. I need to now remove the lid and get my siphon and start siphoning it into my carboy. So I'll switch down to the camera down here. We'll move this chair out of the way because we're going to need this at the moment. I need to grab my carboy, which has sanitizer in it. Now I'm not going to move this because I don't want to move this, as basically the least amount of times you move it, the less sediment you'll stir up and make it unclear wine, which we're trying to clear it out. Right, we've got to get the siphon into the fermenter, but I need to put gloves on because, protect the brew and protect my skin. So that's the sanitizer. I am going to make myself a sink and a clean area so I can do this easily. Okay, so we've got sanitizer on my gloves. I've cleaned them off. That should be clean now. Half a minute's fine. We will pull this part out. This needs to go out where I out the way. And as you can see, this is the wine, and this is my siphon that has been cleaned and sanitized. It's going to go straight in there gently. Into the carb bin. We are siphoning it out of the fermenter at the moment, but what happened is I accidentally hit the sediment that was in the bottom of a conical fermenter. I shouldn't have used a conical fermenter. I should have used the flat bottom fermenter. So I'm going to get a little bit of sediment in there. So that's a problem, but I can deal with that after the secondary settles. It'll settle to the bottom and create a sediment at the base. I'll just have to avoid that when I start bottling this. Alright, I'm going to let it go and hopefully we'll be finished soon. The sanitizer is coming out the top now, so that means the whole thing is sanitized fully right through. The sanitizer itself won't hurt. It's very, very highly diluted. This is finished. I am going to stop now because it's going to try and put in more sediment, which we don't want. Damn, didn't want the sediment to get in there. Lucky I got up. Anyway, got a little bit of sediment in there, a bit of a fizzer, a bit of a dumb thing to do, but that's what we're going to do. I now have to lift this beauty up. But I won't lift it by the handle because these are susceptible to breaking. I'll lift it from the base and support it on the neck. There it is. I need to clean off the excess mess that I've just made. So now I have to add the sorbate in to kill the yeast. This basically removes the yeast sediment, basically kills it, stops it from constantly fermenting. That is a white powder chemical. It's sorbate and sulfite. It's about 11.5 grams of each. Then I will stir it with my stirring stick, which has to be sanitized. I need to get a drill, because that's how I do it, with a drill. And once I do that, we'll come back. So what I've got is my sanitized twirly, surly, whirly, hurly, burly. I actually melted this and molded it into this shape, so it'll be more of a stirring stick. Found the issue though is it shakes like crazy, so it works. It does work. So we're going to stir this for about 3 to 4 minutes. Every 30 seconds, change directions. Check out the gas coming up. Look at this. It's all just gas. Oh, this is a problem. It's actually overflowing. It will eventually settle down. Might leave it at that. That's enough for now. We'll let the gas dissipate and let it out. Now what I have to do now, since I've done it, so medium speed, reverse directions of general information from where present gassing. Stir in the Kaisersol. So they want us to do the Kaisersol now. They're over here. They want us to do the Kaisersol now. So I will open this packet. Now, just so you know too, wine is less susceptible to contamination, mainly because it's such high alcohol content. It just seems to like some oxygen going, not heaps of oxygen, but some oxygen to go in. Now, I don't know why, but when you do the stirring of the sulfite and sorbate, you'd stir that in first, let the sulfite and sorbate do its job and dissolve. Once you've degassed, then you can stir in your Kaisersol, which is what I'm going to do now. And I think that is stirred. Good enough for my liking anyway. Quickly clean it up. It smells alright, I have to say. It smells clean. It smells good. I can smell the gas coming out. That's the job done. So now I'm going to have to leave this. And then 24 hours time, it's going to settle a little bit internally in part. And what will happen is the gas will dissipate because I've stirred it. The sorbate, this Kaiser Sol's done. You can see movement at the station. This will clear out. The sediment will drop at the bottom. Now that we've finished doing the degassing, as you can see, it's still bubbling and letting gas out. We need to put our airlock on and leave it for 24 hours. After 24 hours, we need to stir in the Chitosan and the pomegranate flavouring. So that's going to go in on top. Plenty of room. We should be alright doing that. And once we're done with that, we need to leave it for 14 days. So see you tomorrow. Okay, on my GoPro at the moment, it's been 24 hours. I'm going to put the Chitosan in. So now the instructions say to pour the pomegranate, mist pomegranate flavouring, which is like almost like a molasses. It says to pour that in to here, so I'll pop the lid off. Put that down. We'll get the lid off the pomegranate packet. Just like that. Nicely done. Whoa, smells so good. I forgot what pomegranate smelled like. Now the pomegranate is going in, nice and thick like molasses. Bit hard to pour. It just flows very, very slowly. It's alright, I'll just squeeze the best of it out, all of it out. There you go, all done. And now I need to refill that thing with 250 ml of water, that bag with 250 ml of water. This is boiled water, cooled down, just to get rid of any kind of badness in it, I guess. And I'll shake it around in a bag and we'll pour that in as well. Alright, so now I have to get the Chitosan, cut it open. So I've got to stir that in, stir in the Chitosan, and we should be right for 15 days after this. So I'll do that right now. So I've sanitised the scissors, cut the top off just in the corner, and we'll pour that in. We need to stir this too apparently, so I have to get something else. That's that. And now we need our stirring stick. So that's stirred in nicely, it's ready to go. I'm going to sit this here now, it's going to stay here for 2 weeks now and rest and settle. So all the muck that's sitting in it, everything's going to settle to the bottom and clear right out. If it's not clear within 2 weeks, I'll have to leave it another week, maybe two, to clear out just by sitting it. Can't disturb it from here on in, it's going to have to be settled, left alone for 2 weeks. When you do this, you will get sediment on the sides of your actual vessel. So sometimes it just helps to turn it slightly just to get that stuff to fall to the bottom. But other than that, this is all we do now. We just have to wait. All right, guys. Next, we'll be bottling. So this is it, finally. We're at the end. I took some time to clean all the bottles out. A while back, a subscriber sent me some empty bottles, empty wine bottles. I've been using, I just did 28 new bottles of this wine and it came out awesome. For a use by date being about 3 months out of date, I'm glad the yeast was still good and I'm glad it was all great. Here, I'll pour some. This is my glass. I don't know why I tilt it, but I do. It came out really nice. It's actually, this is the bottom. This is the last bottle, so there's only a bit on the bottom. I've got 27 bottles, or 27 and a half bottles. Now, I've taken some photos of this already before I've done this. And this is it. You can see it's pretty clear. It's very clean. It smells awesome. You should smell the shed. Pomegranate, unbelievable smells. Now I'm glad you guys stuck around to watch the end of this to get the tasting. Now it does somewhat need some aging, but a sweet wine, which is what this is, probably doesn't need so much aging. What I have done is I've bottled them all and placed them in a cool room that I have in, not a cool room, a bedroom that's just left alone and no air gets flowing, no air goes through it, and it is climate controlled because we have a central heating system and cooling system. So it should stay at around about 20 degrees. I know it should be at 14 degrees, but a sweet wine like this probably doesn't matter so much, it'll go quick. I got my wife to taste it. She said it's not that sweet. Now, I can tell you now, compared to wine, it's very sweet, and I am not a sweet person, I'm a savoury person. So, to smell it, you can smell the pomegranate wafting through. It has alcohol in it, about 7%, and it smells very nice. This is really good for a free wine. It cost me nothing. It took some clean water, some time and effort, and that's it. I didn't spend any money on it at all. And I've got myself 27 bottles of very nice smelling pomegranate red wine, and oh, it smells good. You know how you get a wine, you make it, it's got a little bit of a funny smell to it for a few days, maybe for a few weeks until it ages a little bit. I admit this has been sitting here a bit longer than it should have been to clear out, basically an extra month, but it has been well worthwhile sitting it there because it's really cleared right out. And that's the bottom of the barrel, so I'm sure it picked up something, but it still looks very clear. Well, we're about to do the taste. Mm. Mm. I know, I make funny noises, sorry. Wow, this is actually really nice. I have tasted it already, but that's when I quickly first did it and I was a bit rushed. So I never got time to sit there and savour the taste a bit. But it's really nice. It's pomegranate comes through really cleanly. Grapes come through really good. You do have a bit of a tannin taste on it. Of course, red wine is a bit more tannin-y. It's not super sweet, but it's sweet enough. Very enjoyable. I could do this all day. Give you an idea on what the flavour's like. Cordial. In Australia we call a concentrated flavouring, we call it cordial. I don't know if you guys call it that. And yet just add it to water and it gives you a semi-sweet flavoured water. And but no, I can't describe it like that. There's like a flavour that comes when you first drink it. I mean, it's not, I say, it's not a wine that you go and buy at a, if you're a connoisseur of wine, this is not for you. This is for those people who like a good sweet-ish wine, who don't, this is for people who don't like red wine on its own. You like it as a mixer. This is great. It is a really nice wine. For a free wine, for a best before wine, so this is free from the shop that just gave it to me and said, here, just take that, we can't sell it, it's out of date. I said, thanks, I'll take one. She had a few there. I probably should have taken the other one now, thinking about it. But anyway, it is awesome. Give it a go, guys. If you like this kind of wine, this is a Swedish wine, sweet-ish wine. It's very tasty, it's very nice, and I can even handle it. And I don't like sweet wines. But really, I do like this one. I also emptied the bottle. Been sitting around for a few hours, so I don't know if you can see it, Paul. That's the end of it. Now, I did take the time to rinse and clean the bottles, sanitize it and get it ready. I had it on my bottle tree, and as you can see over there, there's my kit that I've done. So you can see I've just finished, so I now have to clean up. So thank you very much, guys. Thanks for watching the video. I know it's a 30-minute video, and it was fun to make. It took me 8 weeks to make this video. Actually, it took me about 10 weeks. So it was a bit of work. I'd like to thank my patrons for looking after the channel and my YouTube members for looking after the channel, and also you guys for taking the time to watch this till the end and giving me the thumbs up that I hope I deserve. If you'd like it, please do. There's more videos to come, and I hope you enjoyed this one. We will see you next time. Cheers.